Uh, it'll be the first time. Oh
We
my
are.
gosh!
We're
It put us
live.
live everywhere we're supposed to go live. Susan will check on the jimandstewshow.com, but it's indicating that it's live with no issues, and she'll give me the high sign. So that's always good to be
We
able to
we
do
are
that.
live and well, Jim. Live and well.
Absolutely, alive and well. I'm doing much better.
I'm
I
glad.
have been having a great week of workouts. I did some rucking this morning. And I shocked myself when I got to the halfway point where I was like, okay, I got to be halfway. And I was like, oh my God, I can keep going. I was rucking at a 15-minute per mile pace, which is not bad,
That's
especially
moving.
if you had the China virus not too long ago.
Yeah. I tell you what, I think you'll find that each week you're just going to wind up getting a little bit better and better.
Yeah.
But it takes time, man. It takes a couple of weeks, maybe a month
Couple
even.
weeks, takes a couple months, man. I must have had like the real bad one.
Yeah.
So, oh well. What's up? I don't know how you say your name. Hayat Sharif Hayat.
Sharif,
I hope I'm saying that
cool
right.
name.
So welcome everybody. So Stu, we have the Jim
Yes.
and Stu show today, and then we
Yeah.
have the Sales Copywriting and Content Marketing Hacks podcast. And I know, but the line is getting blurred now that we're at episode 187.
Yeah. I wanted to do something and kind of make the Jim and Stu show almost like a part one to the podcast today.
Okay.
All right. And what I really wanted to focus on is getting back to the basics and
Hmm.
mastering the basics of sales copy, content marketing, just really nail you down to basics. And the reason why I want to do this is because once you can master these basics, you can now have an ability
Hmm.
to introduce emerging technologies into your business model.
Like if you know what you're doing and stuff like AI comes along, you're not freaking out like
Yeah,
deer in the headlights. You're like, okay, it's another tool. It's not the second coming, and let me see how I can use this to save time, make money, and spend more time with my children and my family.
absolutely.
Okay.
It's not unlike when the word podcast was invented. Everybody was like, "Oh, he has a podcast, incredible." Now everybody has a podcast.
I know everybody and their mother has a podcast.
Yeah. So let's do that. I think that will be a good way to kind of um take this process of just the fundamentals of our business
Okay.
and allowing for to see real growth not only by using just the fundamentals but also these new tools that we have in our backpack.
Okay.
So
Sounds good. Do you
funny.
have something planned, Stu?
Oh, I do. In fact, I was wondering how to start this off. So guess
Uh
what I did?
what'd you do?
I asked a genie to help me.
Sweet.
Yes.
All
So I
right.
went into the um what is it called?
Copy and
Copy and
content.
content
Yeah.
AI
Yeah.
and found a genie and it helped me with a script to create some questions and talk about foundations of success.
Okay.
And
Sounds
I'm
good.
I'm going to interview you, Jim.
Oh boy.
And then about halfway through this, we'll transition into the podcast.
Okay. Before we get started, I just want to welcome everybody who's here with us live. Hey Vicky, hey C Ray, hey Carlin. Glad you guys are here. Carlin, you're supposed to be on vacation. Carl, you're here. Awesome to
Mm.
see you. Got a bunch of other people. Give us a shout out in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe and invite your friends. Tag a friend right now in social media and tell them to get their butt over here. Okay, Stu, go ahead. That's the obligatory thing you're supposed to do. But give us a like or a thumbs up or give us an angry face. I don't care. Just not the creepy huggy icon. Okay,
Okay, who's ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do this. So, Jim, what would you say the most important piece of advice you could give to someone who is getting started with selling their product or service?
The number one thing that you have to do is understand your customer avatar. That is the number one thing that you must do if you want to be successful. I'm going to take notes up here. That is the number one. Oh, hey, by the way, do you know who this character is, Stu?
Yeah. Where have I seen him? Jeeves? No.
No,
Who is that?
It's Vault Boy from
Oh, no.
Fallout, the Fallout series. Just in case you care,
Then
probably don't.
I don't know then.
You don't care.
Don't know
So
what that is.
you got to know who your avatar is. That's the number one thing. Keeps coming back to that over and over and over and over. Whenever somebody asks me, hey, Jim, what do you think of my book? What do you think of my hook? What do you think of my headline? What do you think of my story? What do you think of my offer? What do you think of my call to action? What do you think of my ad? What do you think of my blog post? What do you think of my article? What do you think of my tweet? The list goes on and on and on and on. Before you can answer that question, you got to ask, who's your avatar? What do they want? What are they scared of? What keeps them up at night? If you don't know your avatar, you are wasting your time. That is the foundation of every single thing you're going to do in any business. Any business.
Let's take it down another notch, Jim.
Uh-huh.
Define avatar.
So your avatar is your ideal. And by the way, this is not pre-planned. It's not like Stu gave me these questions. This is all completely off the hook. So if you like what you're hearing, say something in the comments. If you don't like what you're hearing, say something in the comments.
Sure.
But your avatar is your ideal customer persona. So what that means is it is the perfect mental rendition of the person that you are trying to sell to. You keep that person in mind, because it's like impossible to sell to 100,000 people. But the reason for that is because 100,000 people are going to buy one person at a time. And when you're trying to sell to everybody, your messages are super general. They're not very emotional. But when you're talking to a single person that you have defined with that ideal customer persona, you know their fears, you know their problems, you know their roadblocks, all the different things that go in, the results that they want, all the different things that go into knowing your avatar. Then you're able to create messages that are going to resonate, whether it's sales copy or content.
Perfect. You ready? Or did I lose you?
No, I'm here. Why?
Oh, okay. Woo. Thought I lost you there. That scared me for a second. Okay, so what do you think the most effective way to create content and persuasive sales copy is?
Well, the most effective way is to use my software to define your avatar and then start using genies and wizards to create the copy and content that you need based on the proven frameworks that I've been using for 25 years.
Or you could hire a copywriter. How much would that cost you?
So, interestingly enough, in the last 48 hours, I have met with two copywriters, two professional copywriters, one who I have hired to do stuff for me in the past. And you're like, oh my God, Jim, you're supposed to be a copywriter. Would you hire somebody else? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just because you could paint your house doesn't mean you're going to paint your house every time it needs to be painted. Okay. So, and I met with another person who was a copy chief who was in charge of a whole bunch of copywriters for years and years and years. And I was just talking to him, we just catching up because we're friends. And I asked him, how much are you charging now? Because I wanted to know, mainly because when we launch copy and content.ai, obviously I'm going to be using that as a comparison, So the range for a single email message, just one email, how many emails, Stu?
One.
$250 to $300 per email. So it doesn't take a genius to know that if you needed 10 emails, that's between $2,500 and $3,000 you would spend. Now, this copywriter, who shall remain nameless, after I demonstrated a couple of the genies that I have not released yet, but will be on launch day. This person looked at me and said, "Oh my God, that's as good as what I spent the last 2 days writing for somebody.
Damn.
What is this going to do to me as a copywriter?" And I said that, and I explained that, the people who are really going to make it are the ones who aren't necessarily involved in the nuts and bolts of making it, but being able to edit it, curate it, make it better, add value, So it's just getting to that first draft faster using tools. And then now we'll talk about that another day.
Sure.
Opt-in page. Now, an opt-in page, basically with a pre-head, a head, a subhead, 3 to 5 bullets, and a call to action, is going to cost you anywhere between $1,500 and $3,000. Okay? Full-blown sales letter, full-on sales letter, is going to cost you somewhere between $5,000 and $30,000, depending on how involved it is. VSL, somewhere between $1,500 and $7,000. Now, why? Well, people's time to do it, but also when you hire a copywriter, what do they have to spend time doing if they're actually going to create good copy for you? What's the number one step? They're going to have to get to know your avatar. And they're never going to know your avatar as well as you are. But they got to spend the time doing the research, figuring out the avatar, figuring out the hot buttons, doing all that stuff. Oh, and this is if you want it in 2 to 3 weeks. Add 50% to it if you need it next week. Damn. And if you need it tomorrow, double it, if they're even available. So,
wow.
That was probably more than you wanted to know, but
no, it's perfect. It's actually flowing quite well with my ingenious plan of today.
Okay. Well, those of you who are with us on social media, please give us a like, give us a heart, give us something just to let you know that you're enjoying this, and hopefully you're getting something out of it. Okay. What's next, Stu?
Okay. So, with what we're doing here, we're obviously showing, there is a need to understand these wizards and genies, right? Just to save money in general.
Time and money, money, effort, sanity.
And also make money.
Yeah.
So tell me this. With your creations, or maybe even before your creations, I'm not sure where this timeline starts for you, but what are some of the biggest successes you have had when it comes to selling products and services?
Well,
and I don't mean to like say, hey, I do all this and I do all that. What I mean is you're the expert and you have programmed these genies and wizards. Why should we listen to you?
So, I never trust anybody who comes out as like they're an overnight success, because they either got lucky or they're lying. Okay, that's just like the people who tell you that there's no work involved are lying to you. They're just trying to sell you on the idea that there's no work involved. I've figured out what to do over the last 25 years, a lot of times by doing it wrong so many times that I finally figured out what was going to work, but I just kept doing it. The one success that I am the most proud of, the one that was the most transformative for me personally, was not the one where I created an offer that paid off my house in a week, not the one that I created a offer and a sales letter that was able to buy me a waterfront estate, not the one that basically allowed me to build the beach house and the other stuff that where I live right now. The one that I'm the most proud of is the one that made me $1,500 a month, because I took my 20-page website that I'd been trying to make money from for 4 years, doing all kinds of stuff wrong. I was introduced to the idea of a one-page sales letter. That night, I was in a hotel room. I took everything I learned, took all the stuff that was in that 20-page thing, cut it all down to a single long page sales letter. It was probably, I don't know, 10 pages. If you were to print it, it would have been 10 pages, but I turned it into a sales page, and overnight sales went up 250%. And I started making enough money consistently to for a house payment and 2 car payments and the electric bill. Now, $1,500 back in 2001 was about the equivalent of what, $3,000 a month now. So it wasn't a Taj Mahal, and these weren't Rolls Royces, though I have owned a Rolls Royce and gave it away to a friend of mine. But this was the one I'm most proud of because this enabled me to move out of the trailer park, literally, and it gave me the confidence that I was figuring stuff out and I could actually do this and make it happen.
I think that last sentence is probably the most valuable asset that you were able to create when you had these successes.
The confidence?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can, because I'd spent a large part of my then young adult life saying I can't and not feeling good about myself and, feeling like a failure because I'd had success. I'd had failure, I'd had success, I'd blown all that, and I was lower than I was to begin with and didn't know how I was ever going to do it. So this, yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right.
Well, let's do this. With that new mindset that you created for yourself,
Uh-huh.
how did the interruptions or disruptions, I guess, of business in general, technology advances, all of that affect the next years of your business?
So that's a great question. And where I have always made my money, have you ever been to London? Have you ever been to London, England,
Mm-mm.
Stu?
Mm-mm.
Okay. In London, they don't have a subway. They have a thing called the underground. And everywhere in the underground, there are these signs that say, mind the gap, which is a very polite British way of saying, hey, stupid, don't trip on the space between the platform and the train because that's your own fault if you fall down or get stuck or run over. Okay. So, thinking of the gap where money is made anytime in business, there's the thing that people want that's over here, and the people are over here and they're unhappy about the fact that they see the thing that they want, but there's this gap. There's a gap in understanding, there's a gap in skill, there's a gap in resources, there's a gap in tools, there's some type of a gap. And what I have always done is focused on 2 things. One, principles, and I think that's the right one. Principles as in of thought, not principles of character. And if I'm spelling that wrong, I don't care. Okay. Somebody can tell me whether it's PAL or PLE. I don't care if the right thing. But 2 things, principles and then bridging the gap. So, using the example of people really wanted to be able to create a book. Well, I had figured out how to write a book really fast and how to publish it on the web. But previously, my first book took me 4 years to write. Then my next book took me a lot less time and a lot less time and a lot less time. And then I figured out how to write a book really fast, like in a week, and then how to get it up for sale on the internet. And so I was telling people what I was doing. They're like, hey, Love your books. Can you show me how to do this? I said, sure. So I bridged that gap with another guy we called it 7-Day Ebook. That did really well. Then these people were like, okay, I got my book done. I got to put up a website to be able to do this. I said, oh, okay. Well, that became Mini Site Creator. Oh, well, I want to be able to create products for my back end for these these books I'm creating. I want to create courses and multimedia products. Great. That became the multimedia info product course. All these things where there was a gap, I helped bridge the gap. But the principles never changed. People want to be able to sell stuff. They want to be able to grow an audience. They want to be able to, and if you think about the purpose of any business, no matter what you're selling, at its core, every business only does 3 things. How many things, Stu?
3, Jim.
3 things, okay? They develop leads, they make sales, and if they're smart, they build relationships. So everything revolves around that. So, I know a lot about entrepreneurial publishing. I know a good amount about traditional publishing, enough to know that I'll never have a traditional publishing deal in my life. Okay, I think you had 1 or 2 or 3, and it's like kind of a sideline for you. You make all your money with your self-published stuff. There's a whole bunch of reasons why.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I can show you, the first time we did it, I showed you one way to write your book. As technology improved and emerged and evolved over the last 20 years, I think the latest iteration of 7-Day Ebook, we show 15 different ways, either 12 or 15 different ways that you can create a book between now and next week. Well, guess what's come along now? 2 letters, AI. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think, because I understand the principles of what makes a good book, how to market a book, how to position a book, how to target an audience, how to create the sales copy, how to create the outline, how to create the content, how to create the ads, how to do all the things, how to build a coaching program out of it, how to build a list from it, all those things. You think I understand those principles, that I'm going to be able to show you how to use AI to create the book and create all the marketing materials, and probably be able to do it in less than 24 hours?
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely.
You know what this reminds me of, Jim? This reminds me of, no, I mean, it's because I wasn't there, but the gold rush. Where did people make their money?
They made all their money in owning the store that sold the shovels, selling booze, being a hooker, or selling home cooked meals. The ladies that were selling home cooked meals for the equivalent of $100 a meal, and the boarding houses and the other stuff, they were making a ton of money. I mean, hookers can only make so much, but you can serve a lot of people lunch. You get me. That's the old 1-to-1 versus 1-to-many. You make a lot more money with the 1-to-many. So the people actually out there, digging the gold, were making the least amount of money, and we're taking the most of the risk. Now, does that mean you should become, I'm going to make money stuff to stuff? No. But here's the key. All right. If you want to be, whatever industry you're in, whatever niche market of people you serve, here's the thing that I should be charging for that. I'm going to stop. I'm giving away too much. Y'all, this is like the kind of talk I would give to my inner circle. Y'all got to tell me whether you want me to keep going or not. All right. I want to see some comments.
Just the basics, Jim. Just the basics.
I know, this is basic. This is basic. This is fundamental stuff that change your life. Yes. I got to see some comments of, hey, Jim, I want to know the answer. If I don't see it, then we'll just go on to the podcast. Jim, I got to see the comments.
Jim only runs on comments and likes.
That's right.
So Let's
Yeah, my
go.
business runs on comments, likes, and shares, not
Yep.
thanks. Okay. All right. Here's how you become the store owner, the bar owner, or the madam. Okay. You ready? No matter what business you're in, no matter who you're serving, help people do what they already want to do. Help people do what they already want to do. Now, can you save them time? Can you save them money? Can you save them effort? Can you do it in a whole new way? But in the end, the only thing someone is buying from you, no matter what you sell, is a result. And that result is either solution to a problem or the satisfaction of a desire. And sometimes the desire is to get rid of the problem. And sometimes the problem is I don't have the desire. But all anybody's buying from you is a result. They want this result. Help people do what they already want to do. Don't try and invent demand. Don't try and do anything other than help a specific group of people that you understand as well or better than they understand themselves to be able to get what they already want. That's how you become the store owner, the bartender, or the successful Miss Kitty from Gunsmoke. Okay? How am I doing, Stu? Now, you guys tell me in the comments. That sound like a pretty important fundamental? You ever heard anybody explain it exactly that way, that simply? Can that change your life? Absolutely.
100%.
That's what I do every day. That's how I live my life. That's how I do my business. So
me too. Hey, let's go move into the podcast because I'm going to start it off with a really important question. Okay, so stick around, folks.
Now, don't forget that we got to be done at 10 minutes till because we're doing our genie hacking course for the elite members at the top of the hour, and I'm going to need time to.
I am aware. This will probably take another 10 minutes.
Okay. Wow. Shortest podcast ever.
Yeah.
All righty. So just real quick, Carl says super important. Bo says yes. Carl says keep it going. Carlin says that's what I love, direct and simple. Michelle says yes. C-Ray gave me big biceps. Cree, hey Cree, we haven't seen you in a while, dude. Good to see you. Okay. Shall I do the intro?
Sure, go for it.
Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Sales, Copyright, and Content Marketing Hacks podcast. I'm your host, Jim Edwards, along with my trusty co-host, Mr. Stu Smith. Welcome, Stu.
Hey, Jim.
We're in heaven with episode 187 today, and Stu has a special surprise. I don't even know what the hook is.
Yeah, well, we are continuing on with the Jim and Stu show into the podcast, but we are finalizing this great episode because this all episode is going to be part of the podcast. And this final question, Jim, is probably the most important one.
Okay.
And we've answered it before in some ways, but we'll try to use the board to explain it a little better. Probably take 10 minutes, like I said. So what advice do you have for those who are struggling to get their business off the ground?
Buy plastics. Okay. I want to appreciate y'all from tell me what movie that's from. The Graduate. I'm turning into an old trivia fart like my dad. I mean, my dad knows a little bit about everything and just like throws out those things like his own personal traveling Jeopardy show. So what's the question?
It is, what advice do you have for those who are struggling to get their business off the ground?
Okay. So, number one thing, look
Or
at
next level. Sorry. Or next level.
look at your avatar. Look at your avatar from a very, very specific angle, though. Okay, once you've defined them, you want to look at where's the chaos, where's the confusion. This is something I learned from Dan Kennedy. Where's the chaos? Where's the confusion? Think about it like a big squiggly line, okay? And they're over here, and there's something that they really want, and there's all this just confusion and chaos in their way. There's too many choices, there's too many promises, there's too much noise, there's stuff that going on in their head, beliefs they have, things that they don't know how to do, things they're worried about, expenses that they're already paying. There's just all these things, and what you want to do is make a giant list. And then what you want to do is say, okay, how can I solve, fix, or otherwise just make it better so they can get the result that they want? Because people are paying you to help them get a result. You buy toothpaste because you don't want to die old and toothless, but because everybody's selling toothpaste, that's why it's relatively cheap. If you want to have $1 million smile and never have to worry about brushing your teeth again, then dental implants cost, 10,000 times what a tube of toothpaste costs. So that'd be the very first thing I would tell you to do is, instead of going out and trying to just like, oh, I'm gonna run some Facebook ads. I'm gonna, I gotta set up a funnel. I gotta, everybody's got this big list when they're coming in. I gotta get my product done. I gotta figure out how to hire a film crew. And no, dude, I'm serious. I've had, I had people tell me, I gotta hire a film crew and do all this other stuff. I'm like, you know how many film crews I've ever hired in my whole life? One. And it was to film an event that I did in England. And after doing that, I was like, I will never hire a film crew ever again.
You know how many I've hired?
I would say probably zero.
One.
Oh, one? Who? Your kid?
No. Oh, well, yeah. That was my second. Was my kid with an iPhone. Was my second film crew, and the one I still use.
Was the film crew that you hired the one when you did that Navy SEAL video thing where you were in the middle of some quad and doing all kinds of warm-ups and stuff, and then you were running on the beach and swimming in your little onesie?
No, that was my publisher that did that as a video companion to the book.
Oh, okay.
My first book. But yeah, I did one that was more of a like a self-defense book.
Okay. All right.
We did it as a companion, and once again, I will never do that again.
Yeah, really.
So, yeah.
Okay.
It was stupid.
So the bottom line is, know them. Where's the chaos and confusion? Make a giant list. What can you solve, fix, make better for them? Remove that pain. That's your fastest path to getting something, some sort of something you can sell to make money. The next thing you want to do is come out with what's called a minimum viable product. Now, I have my own definition of a minimum viable product instead of the one that people are writing books about. Normally people that have only ever done it once or maybe haven't done it at all and just talking about what other people are doing. By the way, when you read a business book that's mostly stories about other people that aren't the author, that is a really good key that you have a book by somebody that doesn't know jack shit about what they're talking about. Okay, that's just a little key for you. Yeah. All right. So to me, a minimum viable product is a product that gets somebody the result that they want as fast as possible. Not something that barely works, but something that gets somebody a result. And then your job is to then get feedback from the people who buy it and make it better for them as they're going through it. When Susan and I figured out that process about, Susan, I'm bringing you on real quick. Hi, Susan. So do you remember when we kind of fell into the model of, okay, this does what it's supposed to do. We don't know what's missing, so let's get it out there, and then we'll just take everybody's feedback and, do either FAQ teleseminars, or we'll just add stuff to it, or we'll do things. Do you remember when we kind of started doing that? It's got to be
Honestly, no. It was probably when the kids were younger, so a whole lot of things going on at that point in time.
right. But what I'm saying is, I mean, it's been almost 20 years. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been, this has been kind of our model since almost the beginning. You may get kicked in the teeth a few times and like, hey, maybe next time we should structure this in a way that we tell people as part of the thing, like, hey, when you buy into this now, you're also going to get access to the FAQ webinar. You're going to get access. We didn't have webinars back then, but the FAQ seminar. We're going to have weekly things where, you just build stuff into it so people can tell you where it's jacked. And then you can be like, hey, I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to address that, but let's go ahead and do that now. Kind of thing. So that's the next. Thanks, Susan. So that's the next step, is to come up with your MVP. And then the fifth step is to always put the focus on the customer. Now, that doesn't mean you let customers run over top of you, because I've fired a whole lot of customers over the years. But what that means is that everything is all about, how am I going to help this person make their life better? And so that would be my advice for someone who is just starting out. Don't try and have, I mean, and you and I have a mutual friend who has been very successful in business, who still overthinks this part, and it's like, I'm like, dude, you just want to get something out there and see if people even care. Oh no, I got to hire a film crew. Well, as soon as I hear film crew, I'm like, I'll see you in 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay. You're doing a film crew. I'm doing a webinar. I'm going to know real quick whether something is hell. I'll do a YouTube video just to see if anybody cares. So
yeah, and it's free.
Exactly.
Don't have to pay anything for
yeah.
own YouTube video.
If nobody cares about you spilling the beans like what we're doing here, how is me going to how is me getting somebody charging me $2,000 an hour going to make anybody care anymore?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my advice. Know your avatar. Look for the chaos and confusion. Those are Dan Kennedy's words, not mine. Make a giant list of those things, and then figure out how you can solve, fix, or make their situation better to help them get the result. Come out with your most viable, minimum viable product, which is basically the product that will help them get a result with nothing extra. Build in feedback and how to make it better into the delivery of it, and then focus on the customer. Wash, rinse, and repeat. And at some point, you want to have some sort of continuity. That's when you have a real business, is when you have customers paying you every single month or quarterly to do something either for them or provide them with information. That's when you have a real business. Otherwise, it's just a promotion.
That is awesome, Jim. Hey, in closing, okay, we're closing this up. The final question that the genie spit out for us today, right? And I'm going to read this word for word. Okay. In closing, can you give us a final thought and invite people to copyandcontent.ai and join our Facebook group, Sales Copy Content Writing and
Oh my God. Okay,
content
it's only
marketing.
been how many years? Like 5 years we've been doing this. It's only been 187 podcast episodes. Stu, here we go. A little bit of remedial, it'd be like you put me in Fat Boy PT. Okay?
I don't know why it just
Copyandcontent.ai and the Sales Copywriting and Content Marketing Hacks group
Facebook
on
group.
Facebook. Absolutely.
Yes. So anyway, I thought that was kind of neat that the genie was like, hey, don't forget, you own a business. You got to talk about your business.
Right.
So, as part of this process. So anyway,
I'm going to take a couple of minutes to answer that question. Because it deserves a good answer.
Yes.
Number two, this is going to enable me to practice something. Okay. Now, whether you are trying to create a piece of copy, piece of sales copy, or some content, as we all must do, you can't be in business today without being able to put messages in front of people to be able to get them to buy, try, click, sign up, come into your store, or call you on the phone, fill out a form, whatever it is. Okay. You cannot survive in the world today without being able to come out with content that adds value to people's lives, whether they haven't bought from you or they've already bought from you, and you're building relationships. We talked about lead sales, stronger relationships. Those come from copy and content, and then what you do with the copy and content. So here's the problem that most business owners have. Okay. Most business owners are standing over here going, okay, well, I got stuff to do. I'm busy. Kids are hollering. The wife's yelling. Employees need me to do something. I got to create some content, some copy. I'm just going to do it. So they're like, okay, I got to write a sale. Let's use the example of just even an email teaser. Okay. Even just the humble, lowly email teaser. All right. I got to write an email. Oh, shoot. Okay. Well, let me think about, I got to write the email. Well, come on, man. I got to get this email written and time's running out. Well, crap. I really got to get this done. And let me go look at some other one. Let me just look at, oh my God, what am I going to do? And finally, after, I don't know, anywhere from 15 minutes to 15 hours of hand wringing, there's a first draft. And the problem is that once the first draft is done, you're not done, because you need to edit, you need to polish, and finally you need to distribute it. Okay, and distribution can be anything from posting it to sending it or sending it out to all your people. Now, what is the highest value activity right here that you're going through? The highest value activity is not the first draft. The highest value activity is, okay, I got to edit this, then I got to make it really good, and then finally got to get it out there. That's how you're successful with something. Okay, that's how you have the cape with the S. The problem is, and we've talked about this before, there is a finite battery here. There is a finite amount of time, energy, effort, and spiritual ability that people have to be able to get this done. And so when you're doing it the manual way, like I got to conjure this email message or this sales letter or this opt-in page or this free report or whatever it is out of thin air, as you're going through this process, you're using up your little battery. So when you get to the most important part, you've eaten up all your time, energy, and effort, and you're like, just screw it, I'll send it. Or, it's good enough, I'll just send it. Well, good enough isn't going to cut it, because everybody and their brother's sending just good enough. You got to be able to rise above the noise. So where you make your money is here. This is the make money time, the editing, the polishing, and the distribution. This is an expense time. This is eating up your time, energy, and effort and money. Now, what if instead of burning up your whole battery here, you could bridge the entire process, use up maybe 1 bar out of your battery, and now you got all your time, energy, effort, and attention to be able to put it into the editing, the polishing, and the distribution. What if you could bypass all this, which we all feel? Just think back to college term paper due tomorrow. I've been drinking beer for the last month. It's time to start writing. And I'm playing deal-a-meal with the 3x5 cards, trying to plan this thing out and writing a 10-page term paper by hand. You remember that, Stu? With a typewriter?
Yeah.
Okay,
painful.
didn't have a PC. Only the rich little dorks had a PC back then.
Yeah, I
Turds.
didn't.
Anyway, so this is where copying content comes in. Because what we do is we help you get an amazing first draft. We're not a chat bot. We are not an AI robot. We are genies, which are a proprietary blend of my wizard technology, my AI system, and then external AI GPT. But we are not a chatbot or an AI robot. So what we do is we help you make money, because I'll get you a first draft, lickety split, which y'all are going to, those of you who are in copying content in the elite level, 10 minutes, 12 minutes from now, you're going to see us do this. We got a whole new series on genie hacking we're going to share with you. But you spend your time editing, polishing, and distributing, because that's where you make money. So what we do is we take your copying content from being an expense and we turn it into a profit center in both time and money for you. That's why you should go at this point, check out copyingcontent.ai. If it's open, sign up. If it's not, get on the waiting list.
Nice.
So what did you think of that? What did you think of that little presentation?
First of all, I loved it, but don't let me forget for everybody to go to the Facebook group and join, because it is titled Sales Copywriting and Content Marketing Hacks.
Sales Copy and Content Marketing Hacks podcast. Sales Copy and Content Marketing Hacks Facebook group. It's not Sales Copywriting. I thought it was Sales Copy. I don't know. I don't even know the damn name. We only got 25,000 members. So I mean, so somebody must know the number, the name.
That's pretty good. So anyway, I screwed that up again. Tried to hit it one more round just to get it right.
Awesome.
I don't want to digress from what you just shared, because that was a great journey and process of just your knowledge and your history of, how you've been able to create some really unique tools for people's businesses, and not be scared away of the emerging technology that everybody thinks is going to change the world.
Well, and I will end with this. I've never created a tool to sell that I didn't want to use myself. And that's one thing that you'll see with some people are like, hey, I'm just going to make this to sell it. Nope. I'm going to make this, I'm going to use it, and then I'm going to sell it. So that's been one thing we've always done. So one thing real quick, and somebody had one question I want to hit. Michelle asks a question: does 7-day ebook just focus on interview style book, or does it cover other book formats? Interview style book is just one of the dozen or so ways that we show you how to create an ebook real fast. So that's just one of the ways. So awesome. All right, Stu, if people want to get in, Carl got it. Sales Copywriting and Content Marketing Hacks Facebook group. You were right. I was wrong. Look at you.
That's good.
Okay, nice work. If people want to get in shape, where should they go?
StuSmithFitness.com.
And if you want to get into the early bird list, or you want to jump on an early special for copyingcontent.ai, head on over to copyingcontent.ai. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.